This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
How was your weekend? How was the Father's Day?
Yeah, it was good. My youngest son's an NBA guy, and I've told Matt before I don't watch too much, but he's a Mavs fan, and he was trying to convince me that, yes, no team has come from 0-3 down, but also no team has ever won it getting beat as bad as Dallas beat the Celtics the other night. So he's still positive. He thinks they're going to pull it off and come back and make history, so whatever.
Who's his? So he likes Dallas. What does he when you talk to him? What does he say Dallas has to do to beat Boston tonight?
He just says they got to be more focused. You know, he was telling me. I'm not a big NBA guy, you know that, but I was just looking at it, and I was going before this ever started. I just look. The Celtics are just too good. I mean, there's no way the Mavericks win this, and he was just mad at me. You know, well, you're crazy. Because, you know, he's like a typical fan, and so I just think he's trying to convince himself that they're going to make history, you know. I don't know. He didn't get anything specific on that, but I was just giving him a hard time. I don't really care one way or the other.
No, but you're right. It's up to Boston. If Boston shows up and they want to play and they're going to grind and play defense, I haven't seen Dallas be focused. And it's a weird thing to say, Mike. I haven't seen them be focused for an entire 48 minutes, and you would think, hey, we're in NBA Finals. We're going to give effort on the offensive and the defensive side and be focused for the entire game. And you saw a little bit of that early, and I think Boston just rested their guys.
Yeah, and I don't know this is really true, but I was just trying to say to him, look, they may not have intentionally done this, but I'm sure now what the Celtics are thinking is, okay, this is cool. We'll just go back and win it at home, which is better than winning it on the road. You know, I don't know that's what was going on there, but, you know, it's possible.
I was a fan. So I used to be a big hockey fan. I remember the Pittsburgh Penguins. They played against the Chicago Blackhawks, the second of their back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. And, hey, they won the first one on the road in Minneapolis. So the next year, they're up 3-0 over the Blackhawks. And the fourth game is in Chicago. And I was one of them. I was like, I kind of hope they lose this game because I want to see what it's like when they win at home. You like do that at your own danger though, because then it's like I don't have any much hair to lose anyways. I'd be way too nervous.
Yeah, but guys, on the other hand, how wacky is this? And I assume these two guys are big A&M fans. These two Aggie fans that are wearing the expensive Aggie polos. They probably came all the way up to watch this thing, and who knows? A&M might win a national championship. And they stupidly get themselves kicked out. My guess is they'll end up kicked out of all Aggie, sporting events from here on out, because what they did was so over the top and so wacky. I don't think any average fan would even think about that. And I make fun of the Aggies a lot. I don't think this was an A&M thing. I think it was them. And I'm trying to figure out how dumb you have to be to do something that's going to prevent you from being able to watch what happens. They came all the way up here. That was a big win by A&M, especially with that catch in the ninth inning, and they don't get to see it. How stupid is that?
I think they got them. Those were probably Texas fans that just wanted it to reflect a certain way on A&M fans. But it does say, hey, if you've reached something that's too far out there for A&M, like that might be the farthest anybody goes.
I've never seen anything like that. I'm not going to get into what they were doing, but it was bad. It was really bad. So bad that the game stopped. And as they were being kicked out of this place, they were trying to get into it with Florida fans as they went up the aisle to be kicked out. Oh man, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, if I supported a team and I went all the way up to Omaha and I wanted to watch it, why would I get myself kicked out of the stadium?
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
But it's going to be one of the 3 SEC teams that are in the winner's bracket, right? I mean, try to predict baseball. You'll always be proven that you don't really know what you think you know. But come on, it's going to be Tennessee or it's going to be A&M and Kentucky. Right now, they look like they've looked like the cream of the crop from the start of the tournament, and they're just sort of looking like it so far in Omaha.
Yeah, most of the time when you get to 2-0 and you just need one more win to get into that championship series, that's what's going to happen. And The one outlier out there still might be Florida State because they're awfully good, and that was a controversial win or a controversial loss. And I could see them possibly coming back through the losers bracket, but I think it's going to be a real contrast. Tennessee with their power and their home run hitting, and Kentucky with the way they move people around on the bases. I think that would be a great series to watch.
You think Kentucky beats A&M today? I think A&M is the better team because I trust their pitching a little bit more. Now, I know they're down one of their top relievers in Shane Sadeo, lefty, and down Montgomery, but they've got like 4 other first team All-Americans, and they've got the kind of pitching depth that you need. And we've like tried to discount Kentucky's pitching over and over again, and then we're proven otherwise. That is about as complete of a team too. These teams are just great. Tonight's game ought to be great.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they made a big deal out of this being an all-ACC, all-SEC College World Series field, and it's the only time it's happened except in 48 when it was a two-team College World Series. They played I think they had the NCAA baseball tournament for the first time that year, and they had 2 brackets, but a team emerged from either side of the bracket, and then they played the 3-game series, and that was a College World Series. After that, it expanded, and it's never been just 2 conferences. But the SEC is dominating so far. Again, the one ACC team that I think still possibly could figure out a way to do it is Florida State because they're awfully good, and they lost under some really weird circumstances.
Did you get we were kicking around this just a moment ago about Les Miles suing LSU for the 37 vacated wins that drops his winning percentage under 60%, so he's no longer eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame. He is suing LSU because of this. His winning percentage is just 1/100th of a decimal point higher than Mike Leach. And like, well, could you give Leach maybe 4 of Miles' wins? Because then he goes into the Hall of Fame, and it feels like he belongs even though he doesn't have 60%. What do you feel about Leach and maybe like making an exception to these rules?
Well, I mean, I would do it because I'm a Leach guy. I mean, oh, man. I mean, that guy. And it wasn't just what he did as a coach, but it was just who he was as a person. I mean, that guy is so unbelievable. I mean, my buddy in Lubbock knew that I was a Leach fan, and Leach came in to sign a book deal. And he's in one of these bookstores, and there's like people lined up out the door. And he finally gets up there, and he starts telling him that he's buying this book for me and who I am, and would he sign the book? And he said Leach just started talking to him and asking him about me and just going on and on and on. And the guy got embarrassed. He was like, you got all these people waiting. Maybe we ought to just move this along. He just, no. There's that story of him being on the telephone in his coach's office, and the guy calls, and he's around his other coaches, and he talks to this guy for 15 minutes. When he hangs up, they go, who was that? And he said, I don't know, it was the wrong number. He just was incredible.
Mike, have you been watching any of these Olympic trials, and what's kind of up with you this month of June?
I'm gonna wait till the Olympics to kind of, to really start watching it a lot. The Olympics at one time was huge when I was a kid. I mean, it was just big, big, big. But you know what, with me, and anybody around here knows this, I'm a speed guy. I like to watch the speed events. I'm not somebody who's going to watch the marathon or, the 1,500 meters is okay, but I like the 100 meters. I like the 200 meters, and I think it just stops after that. I want to know who the fastest guy is. I've always been interested on. Bullet Bob Hayes was my first big professional hero because he was so dadgum fast they had to invent a new defense to even cover the guy. And when I was a kid, I was a Willie Mays fan because he was so fast in the outfield. So all I want to know is who's going to win the 100 meters, who's going to win the 200 meters.
Well, we had a caller call in. I think it was in the first hour talking about a little speed on this Arkansas Razorback team. He was a quarterback, and Phil, what he run, a 21.7? Is that
that's what it was? Yeah.
Do you know anything about this kid, Mike?
No, I was just reading about it. You know, is he the one that was going to go to Army?
Zachary Taylor is his name.
Yeah. At that time, they said he was like 6'4", 170. Okay, he's going to put on weight when he gets here. So that might slow him down some, but I am telling you, that is motoring. He's real close to running into the 19s. I mean, if he really worked on it, which he might not, because a lot of football players who are going to run track don't really do it.
Well, that's 4.3 speed if you're telling me that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do that, yeah, that's good.
It is, and so that's pretty exciting. And isn't he available this year?
Yeah, he's on the team roster. He's on the roster list right now.
Yeah.
He was committed to play at Army, and is now. I guess he's on campus by now. If he's on the roster, he's got to be on campus.
I don't know. The Arkansas fans, if you go read about all this recruiting that's going on right now with football, man, they're just blowing it. Oh, these guys are terrible. Sam Pittman's fired. I guess Lindy Sports Magazine wrote an article in which they quoted 3 anonymous SEC coaches saying that Pittman's out before the season's over, and all the fans are just assuming that.
Do you believe those things? Do you believe that those are really SEC coaches, that they actually get real head coaches to tell them those things?
I don't. I just can't believe that. Why would you take the chance? I'm an SEC coach. Are you serious? I'm going to badmouth another guy like that? What if you recorded that and then ran it and said, well, he said it? I mean, I wouldn't do it. So I don't know if it's real or not, but I'm just telling you guys, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I was impressed with spring football. I've been impressed ever since they hired Petrino. You can't tell me that with a new offense and what they're doing and the way they reworked that offensive line and the running backs they've got, now they've added some receivers, that this is not going to be a better offensive team. And I think if they'd been better offensively, the defense wouldn't have collapsed at the end of the year. I think those guys just gave up.
That's what it felt like, that's for sure. Hey, last thing, you've been keeping up on the rumors about Texas baseball, and everybody's convinced they're going to get rid of David Pierce, and they're going to get as much money as they can possibly gather together and go after Tony Vitello, or maybe another sitting head coach in the SEC. And I wonder if it might be Jay Johnson that they might target or would go after. Do you see all the players LSU is losing into the transfer portal? They lost one of their top relievers yesterday, Javen Coleman. They lost the starting catcher today, Brady Neal. I think it's like 12 or 13 players LSU has lost to the portal, and I wonder if some of these kids have seen writing on the wall.
Yeah, it could be. I tracked down somebody that knows Vitello pretty well, and what he told me was that when Vitello took the job at Tennessee, it was largely because of the AD that hired him. He liked the guy, and he said before he ever coached a game at Tennessee, that guy was fired. And he said he was always uncomfortable with the fact that he's the head baseball coach at a school where the guy that is the AD didn't hire him. And supposedly he has a really good relationship with the Texas AD. That didn't mean he'll take the job, but I've heard these rumors they're going to offer him $3 million a year and a huge NIL budget and all this stuff. So now, the person I was also talking said money's not the big deal with Vitello. He's not married. He doesn't have kids. He's got enough to do what he needs to do. So he didn't know that the money part was such a big deal. He just said the idea that he would be working for a guy that he likes and the guy would be the guy that hired him might be enough to convince him.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.